Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be exploring heartbreak
Ooh.
and how to kind of move through that process. And we're going to be using psychologist Guy Winch and his book, How to Fix a Broken Heart.
Great book.
We've got some excerpts ready to go. And whether you are going through this personally or supporting someone who is,
Right.
or maybe you just find the psychology of emotions interesting,
Yeah, definitely.
this is the deep dive for you.
It's a topic that I think most of us can relate to on some level.
For sure.
And I think what I find really interesting about Winch's approach is this combination of scientific insights
I love that.
to both explain the experience and offer practical strategies.
Yeah, I love that combination of science and practical advice.
Yeah.
So to start off,
Okay.
I want to dive right into this idea that emotional pain is real pain.
Yes.
It's not just a saying.
It's not just a metaphor.
Like there's a biological basis for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Winch explains that the same areas of our brain that process physical pain also light up when we experience intense emotional distress, like a breakup.
Just not just in your head.
It's a genuine physiological response. That's like real.
Yeah, and that's why it can feel so overwhelming.
That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does he talk about how to deal with that intense physical pain response? I feel like it feels so different from dealing with like a broken leg or something.
He doesn't focus on specific techniques for that initial like acute pain.
Okay.
But he emphasizes the importance of understanding that your reaction is valid.
Okay.
It's not weakness.
Yeah.
It's not being overly dramatic.
Right.
Your brain is processing a significant loss.
And understanding that could be the first step in having some self-compassion, especially in those early stages.
Yes, and then he goes on to describe the typical stages of grief, which might sound familiar if you've gone through a breakup.
Yeah.
Shock, denial, anger, bargaining, and eventually acceptance.
I feel like a lot of people listening probably have experienced those.
Yeah.
It's helpful to know there's kind of a map for this emotional territory.
Right. It can feel really messy and unpredictable.
Oh, for sure.
In the moment.
Yeah.
But knowing that these stages are normal can be really validating.
It means you're not alone.
You're not alone in those feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of not being alone,
Yeah.
Winch also talks about coping mechanisms.
Yes.
What stands out to you from his suggestions?
Well, he highlights a few different approaches.
Okay.
Including finding healthy outlets for your emotions.
Like what?
Like exercise or creative pursuits.
Oh, okay.
He gives an example of Sarah,
Okay.
who found solace in volunteering at an animal shelter after a breakup.
That's a great way to channel that energy into something positive.
Yeah.
I know people who swear by journaling.
Oh, yeah?
Or art therapy.
Absolutely. Those are excellent examples.
And you know, in addition to those, he also emphasizes the importance of professional help if needed.
Right.
Therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy
CBT.
or CBT
Yeah.
and mindfulness can be incredibly helpful.
And I've heard those terms.
Yeah.
But I'm not really familiar with them.
Okay.
What are those exactly? And how could they help someone who's going through heartbreak?
Well, CBT focuses on identifying negative thought patterns and learning how to challenge and reframe them.
Oh, okay.
So instead of getting stuck in a loop of, I'll never find love again,
Right.
CBT can help you shift to a more balanced thought like, this is painful right now, but I'm capable of healing and finding happiness again.
So it's about recognizing and changing those automatic negative thoughts that can kind of take over.
Yeah, after a breakup.
That makes a lot of sense. And what about mindfulness?
Mindfulness is about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Okay.
It involves techniques like meditation and deep breathing to help you manage the intensity of your emotions.
So it's like creating a space between you and your thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
So you can observe them without getting swept away.
Exactly.
It sounds like both CBT and mindfulness can provide tools to navigate those overwhelming emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not about suppressing your feelings
Right.
or pretending everything is okay.
Okay.
They're about equipping you with skills to manage those feelings in a healthy way.
And alongside those coping mechanisms, Winch talks about the importance of support, right?
Absolutely.
Like having people...
Yeah, whether it's friends, family, a support group, or a therapist.
Yeah.
Having someone to listen without judgment can make a world of difference.
It's about not isolating yourself
Yes.
in your pain.
Exactly.
And sometimes just having that external perspective can help you see things more clearly.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like those friends
Yes.
who can gently point out when you're stuck
Totally.
in a negative thought spiral.
Yeah, they can help you see those patterns that you might not even realize you're in.
Yeah.
And they can remind you of your strengths and resilience when you're struggling to see them yourself.
Now, alongside romantic heartbreak,
Okay.
Winch dedicates a section to the pain of losing a pet.
Yes.
And it's something that's often minimized by society, but the grief is incredibly real.
He makes a very important point about how our pets are often more than just animals to us.
Yeah.
They're family members,
For sure.
sources of unconditional love and support.
Absolutely. And he encourages people to acknowledge that grief and find ways to honor their pet's memory.
Yeah, he suggests things like planting a tree, creating a photo album, or making a donation to an animal shelter in their name.
I love that.
What kind of memorial resonates with you?
Oh, I think it's about finding something that feels personally meaningful.
Yeah.
And helps you process those emotions.
Right.
I love the idea of planting a tree and watching it grow and thinking of all the joy that my pet brought into my life.
That's a beautiful way to connect their memory to something that continues to grow and flourish.
Yeah. So while those coping mechanisms and the need for support apply broadly, it's interesting to see how Winch specifically addresses those unique challenges of pet loss.
He definitely emphasizes the importance of validating those feelings.
Right.
Especially since others might not always understand the depth of that bond.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the signs of heartache.
We have.
The stages of grief, coping mechanisms, the importance of support.
Yes.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But Winch offers practical advice.
He does.
For managing those tough emotions, right?
Absolutely. And he emphasizes the importance of being mindful of your thoughts.
Okay.
And actively working to shift negative thinking patterns.
So what are some of those practical steps he suggests for managing those painful emotions?
Well, one of the most important things he highlights is reframing negative thoughts. Okay.
He suggests turning "I'll never find love again" into "I'm open to love when the time is right."
That's a subtle but powerful shift in perspective. It's not about denying the pain, but about creating space for possibility.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your current emotional state doesn't define your future.
And Winch talks about self-care as another important aspect of healing.
Yes.
What are some of the things he recommends?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of engaging in activities that nourish you.
Okay.
Whether it's spending time in nature, listening to music, reading, or connecting with loved ones.
I love that he frames it as nourishing yourself.
Yeah.
It makes self-care feel less like a chore and more like an act of kindness towards yourself.
It's about recognizing that you deserve care and compassion.
Yeah.
Especially when you're hurting.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
You need to replenish your own reserves before you can effectively support others.
Absolutely. And sometimes self-care might mean setting boundaries.
Saying no to things that drain your energy and prioritizing your own well-being.
It sounds like self-care is about tuning in to what you need and taking those steps, even if they feel small.
Even if they're small.
To meet those needs.
It's about being your own best advocate during a difficult time.
So we've talked about reframing negative thoughts and practicing self-care. Are there other practical steps Winch recommends?
He emphasizes the importance of engaging in activities that bring you joy.
Okay.
And create a sense of accomplishment.
Like what kind of things?
It could be anything from taking up a new hobby to revisiting an old one.
Oh, okay.
Setting a small goal and achieving it.
Okay.
Or simply spending time doing something you love.
I can see how that could help shift your focus away from the pain and towards something positive.
Exactly. It's not about denying or suppressing your feelings, but about actively creating positive experiences that can help balance out those negative emotions.
It's like creating a counterbalance to the weight of the heartbreak.
And those positive experiences, however small, can start to create a ripple effect.
Oh, wow.
One positive experience can lead to another, and gradually you start to build momentum towards healing and feeling better.
It's encouraging to think that you can actively contribute to your own healing process.
Absolutely. And Winch highlights how those activities aren't just distractions.
Right.
They actually play a role in rewiring your brain for happiness.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
How does that work exactly?
When you engage in activities that bring you joy, you're strengthening the neural pathways associated with positive emotions.
So it's like exercising a muscle.
Exactly.
The more you use it,
the stronger it becomes.
the stronger it gets.
Yeah.
So every time you laugh with a friend, learn something new, or accomplish a goal,
you're actually strengthening your capacity for joy and happiness.
That's a really empowering way to think about it.
It is. It's like you're actively building your own emotional resilience.
And that resilience is what will help you not just survive heartbreak, but actually thrive afterwards.
It's like that idea of kintsugi.
Oh, yes.
The Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks become part of the object's beauty and history, making it even more unique and precious.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It beautifully captures the idea that heartbreak, while painful, can actually make us stronger and more whole.
Speaking of rebuilding, Winch offers advice on how to create a fulfilling life after heartbreak.
He does.
What are some of the key takeaways there?
He emphasizes the importance of setting new goals, both big and small.
Okay.
It could be anything from traveling to a new place to learning a new skill.
Those goals give you something to look forward to, something to work towards, a sense of purpose.
Exactly. And as you achieve those goals, you build confidence and a sense of self-efficacy.
Which can be incredibly helpful after experiencing a loss of identity that often accompanies heartbreak.
It's like reclaiming your power and agency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also talks about the importance of reconnecting with your passions.
Okay.
And exploring new interests.
That makes sense. Heartbreak can be a time of reflection and reevaluation, a chance to figure out what truly matters to you.
And as you discover those new passions, you're not just filling a void.
Right.
You're creating a life that's even richer and more aligned with who you are now.
It sounds like the rebuilding process is about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Yes.
One that reflects your growth and evolution.
And that process takes time and effort.
For sure.
But it's a journey worth taking.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the science of heartache to the stages of grief, coping mechanisms, and rebuilding your life.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to highlight?
You know, one thing that really stood out to me is his emphasis on self-compassion. Throughout the book, he reminds us that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
To grieve, to feel those difficult emotions.
I think that's such an important message.
It is.
It's easy to beat yourself up
Yeah.
for feeling sad or angry.
Yes.
But it's crucial to acknowledge those feelings and allow yourself to process them.
Absolutely. And he encourages us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a friend going through a similar experience.
That's such a powerful reminder.
It is.
We often extend more grace to others than we do to ourselves.
And that self-compassion can make a world of difference in how we navigate heartbreak.
It's like being your own best friend during a tough time.
Exactly.
So we've covered the science of heartache,
Yeah.
those stages of grief, coping mechanisms, the importance of support, reframing our thoughts, self-care, rebuilding, and self-compassion.
Yes.
It's quite a journey.
It is, and Winch reminds us that it's not a linear process.
Okay.
There will be ups and downs, good days and bad days.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly normal.
It's like those nature documentaries where they show a forest recovering after a fire.
Right.
It takes time.
It does.
It might look messy at first, but eventually new life emerges, even stronger than before.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And just like that forest, we too have an incredible capacity for healing and renewal.
So for someone listening who might be in the thick of heartbreak right now, what's the most important thing they should remember?
I think it's to be patient with themselves.
Okay.
And to trust the process. Healing takes time, and it's not about rushing through it or pretending everything's okay.
It's about honoring those feelings.
Yes.
Taking care of yourself and leaning on your support system.
Absolutely.
And remembering that you're not alone in this.
Exactly. And as you move through this experience, you might even find that heartbreak, as painful as it is, can lead to incredible growth and self-discovery.
That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that sometimes you have to break down to break through.
Precisely. Heartbreak can force us to reevaluate our priorities.
Okay.
Confront our fears and discover a strength and resilience we didn't know we had.
So in a way, it can be a catalyst for transformation.
I think so. It's a chance to learn from the experience, to grow and to emerge even stronger and more whole on the other side.
And that brings us to our final thought-provoking question for you, dear listener.
How can this experience of heartbreak, as challenging as it is, be an opportunity for personal growth and deeper self-awareness?
What can you learn about yourself, your needs, and your values as you move through this process?
And how can you use those insights to create a future filled with even more love, joy, and fulfillment?
Those are powerful questions to reflect on.
They are.
And if you'd like to explore these ideas further, we highly recommend checking out Guy Winch's book, How to Fix a Broken Heart.
It's filled with practical advice and insights to support you on your healing journey.
And remember, there are resources available to help you through this. Don't hesitate to reach out to a therapist, counselor, or support group.
You are not alone, and with time, support, and self-compassion, you will heal and create a life that feels even more meaningful and authentic.
Thank you for diving deep with us today.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.